Ladies and gentlemen, sports fans of all ages, it's our pleasure to present to you the newest name in Delaware sports and sports around the world, who has had absolutely no success in the real world, so he's dedicated his life to talking sports. He's known to be prickly and very opinionated. It's time to get in the huddle with your host, Coach Muddle.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Huddle. We're back. We're back just because last night we decided to opt out because of some games going on, and I am recovering. As some of you saw, I had a little mishap. And am recovering from. I had 3 screws had to get put in my shin bone. I stuck the landing. I was
stuck the landing.
I stuck the landing.
Never good when you go to step on a ladder and it's not there.
Well, you step off and you expect there to be ground, and there wasn't ground, and you go, "Oh crap, I got to jump." So I jumped and I just couldn't stuck.
What did your buddy give you on the landing? I'm sure it wasn't a Terry Strug 1996 Olympics type landing, was it?
No, I was getting some. 8.2s. A couple of 8.5s. I got some high scores for that. So it was a good. It when I just stuck the landing. I just couldn't handle it. So
yeah. What's up, Angela? So
Angela, how you doing?
What's how long you on the IR for?
So I'm going to be casted up for minimum 3 months or 2 months. I'm sorry, 2 months with a cast, and then we go from there. So, but I will not know more until mid-April when the doctor wants to see me. So what they'll do is cut this cast off, check it out, make sure everything's healing okay, and then put a new cast back on and continue the process. So
it sucks, but glad to hear ultimately, nothing crazy serious. I know you're laid up, can't get around, but
it's my driving foot too.
Yeah, it could always be worse though. You know what I mean?
Right.
Do something to a back or something like that, or hit your head. That's never a good thing. So
absolutely. I just it was kind of a tough deal, and so now I have to suck it up, Buttercup, and get to it. So you want to get it started, get into the trade. Obviously. Yeah, let's get in. We haven't had this kind of action in quite some time.
Yeah.
But let me just say this: the Dolphins are.
Yeah, they're the winners of the trade, no doubt about it.
I mean, they're pretty legit. I mean, within a matter of, I don't even want to give them an hour. I'm going to say within a matter of minutes, they traded out of the top 10 and back into the top 10, and still got they're going to get the guy they want. I think they didn't
move basically. Yeah, they moved from 3 to 6, but you're still going to probably end up with the player you want. And I liked how my cousin put it. He said the Dolphins are playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers, and he's right. I mean, the way they look at it, they had the 3rd overall pick. As you said, they moved to 12. They trade with the Eagles to go to 6, and they keep a 3rd-round pick this year, and then they keep a 1st-round pick of the Niners in 2023. And, Coach, I think what that's for is if Tua doesn't work out this year, because they're going to give Tua his weapons this year. They brought in Will Fuller. I think with that 6th pick, you're going to see them take Pitts possibly or Jamar Chase. They're going to give him that weapon. And then obviously they have some health coming back with Devontae Parker. And I think they're going to say, all right, Tua, let's see what you can do. And if he can't, guess what? in going into 2022, you have your first round pick, and in 2023, you have 2 first round picks. So if you say we don't like Tua, you have the ammunition to go up and do something for somebody else, or maybe the Russell Wilson situation goes further south, or Watson holds out this year, because the Texans have shot themselves in the foot, in my opinion.
I
Because
agree.
with the Jets and other situations, Coach, you had all these teams that need a quarterback. Well, they're filling those voids. And then when the draft comes, they're all going to fill that void. Now you don't have, as you know, Coach, if you want to get a haul, you need suitors. Well, if all these players, teams, fill that quarterback position, you don't have suitors to build up a trade package and make
Yeah.
teams, go against each other. And plus, obviously, not, to bring up all the sexual harassment lawsuits too, whatever's going on there, whether it's true or not, but it's still not good. And they're in a stare down basically. So we'll see what happens with that. But I think that we'll get into the Eagles end of the trade. But I think for the Dolphins, I think it's a great trade. For the Niners, I mean, I understand. Obviously, they don't, like people say they still believe in Jimmy. Obviously, you don't.
Obviously, you don't. You're not trading up to number 3 if you're not getting a quarterback. So
Right.
obviously, Jimmy G is on his way out the door, and I wouldn't be surprised. I don't see him getting traded. I just see that they will cut him before the roster bonuses due.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll wind up getting picked up with another team, kind of, possibly New England, because I think he is an upgrade from Cam. I think
Right.
he's more than an upgrade from Cam there, and he knows the offense. He'll go in there and probably do well there. So.
And look, I think right now he's a placeholder, essentially. I don't think the Niners, his cap hit this year, if they were to trade him, is like $27 million. So they figure, look, we'll let him play a year out, let the kid sit back and learn from him, and I can guarantee you Jimmy G is going after this year. And you said it. I don't think there's a better scenario than the Patriots. You go back, supposedly Belichick really loved him. I think that's where he'll end up, and the 49ers will try to recoup one of those first-round picks maybe, or a second-round pick for, obviously they had to give up to move up to 3. I'm just a little surprised. I guess it probably didn't work out cap-wise, but with what they've given up, 2 firsts and a third, why not look? I mean, obviously, you're not going to get Wilson. Seahawks aren't going to trade Wilson within their division.
Right.
But, why not call up about Watson? I mean, maybe they did, and the money just doesn't work with Jimmy G's cap hit, and then obviously taking on Watson's new contract. But I don't know. We'll see. Giving up all that for firepower, and you're not getting Lawrence, you're probably not getting Zach Wilson. They're probably looking at Justin Fields or Trey Lance there at number 3.
Right. I agree. And now all of a sudden, Mac Jones is starting to, climb the board, which I think he's going to work out. I honestly, I like Mac Jones in the right situation.
Yeah.
And I think San Francisco is one of those right situations where he could flourish really well in that type of situation. So I wouldn't be too upset if they wound up, I wouldn't call it a reach, but if they took Mac Jones there,
See, I think it's a reach at 3, Coach. If it was at 12,
yeah,
it wouldn't have bothered me. But giving up 2 first-round picks and all for a guy that a lot of people were talking in the later part of the first round. But you know how it is with these, everybody wants the QB. And,
right.
They're talking 5 could go in the top 10 now with obviously, we named Lance, Lawrence, Wilson, and then you got Justin Fields and Mac Jones. I got a feeling, though, that Mac Jones might be a little bit of smoke. I think they like Trey Lance out of North Dakota State.
Okay. All right. I think I agree because I'm also seeing him to the Panthers. I've seen a lot of play with him to the Panthers and also Denver. I still like Drew Lock. I still think Drew Lock needs a little more time. with he's had a couple of different offensive coordinators. You have the former Giants, Pat Shurmur, who really did well as an offensive coordinator, and he's really good. You saw that with the quarterbacks he played with in Minnesota, and what he did with Daniel Jones, because you saw how regressed Daniel Jones was this year. He really went backwards. So, but I don't know. And I see Denver and Carolina, the other teams trying to, be in that quarterback hunt. And we'll see.
What's going on, Kevin?
What's up, Kevin?
Now we get into the Eagles aspect of it. Obviously, I'm in Philly, so I know the pulse and people. And I'll admit at first, with me, I was scratching my head, and I didn't like it. And a lot of people in Philly are upset. But the more I look at it, I like it. I really do. If Wentz plays 70% for the Colts next year, that Colts second rounder turns to a first rounder. So now you have your first round pick, the Colts first round pick, and the Niners first round pick next year. Okay. So you have 3 first round picks next year. And I think there's a very, very good chance that either Pitts, Smith, or Chase still falls to 12, because we all know Lawrence is going 1 to the Jaguars. I think it's pretty known Zach Wilson's going 2 to the Jets. 3, everybody knows the Niners going to take a quarterback. They've admitted to themselves, we just don't know who. 4 is the Falcons. They're not going to draft a receiver. You have Julio Jones. There's some rumors they draft a QB. They may get a lineman. We'll see. Bengals, they got T. Higgins. Definitely not going to draft a receiver. They're going to get somebody to lineman. Yup, Joe Burrows. 6, Miami, definitely going to be a playmaker for Tua. So that's going to be Pitts or Chase, I believe. Maybe Smith, because they played together at Alabama. Then you got the Lions. There's a chance they could take a receiver, but honestly, they have so many holes. I think they're going to go offense or defensive line, or impact maybe Mekhi Parsons, player on defense. Right. That's just Dan Campbell, that guy who wants to set a mentality. He's going to get one of those guys that fit the description of what he wants. Then 8's the Panthers. I don't think they're taking a receiver, and then I can guarantee you, Denver at 9 drafted a receiver in the first round last year. Dallas at 10 drafted a receiver first round last year and don't need a receiver. And then 11, obviously, Coach, is your Giants. Right. Not going to take a receiver because you just signed Galladay and you're not taking Pitts probably either unless he falls. But I don't think they would, because you got Rudolph and Ingram, and then you signed Galladay. So now you might have 1 or 2 of those guys fall to the Eagles. So what you need to be afraid of, Coach, is does somebody come and draft and move in front of the Eagles to try to grab one of those guys? That's what you need to be wary of. And, Kevin, you could be right. The Falcons take Pitts. But even if that happens, I think there's a chance Smith, who I think a lot of the Eagles fans wanted, could drop to 12. You know how it is with the coach with the draft. You can throw all those mock drafts out the window. You never know what's going to happen on draft day. And look what's already happened. The 12, Niners were at 12. They moved to 3. Dolphins were back to 12. They're up to 6. And there's still going to be much more trades up now between now and April 29th.
Absolutely. I agree. I know in with the Giants also looking at possibly going offensive lineman. I'm not a big fan at that area of the draft of taking a lineman.
I think moving back a little bit.
I think if you want to move back, otherwise, you got to take a DN. You got to take the DN because you need a legit pass rusher. But if Parsons is there, I really like him as that versatile linebacker.
4'3", 40.
Can do some different things. I think he doesn't get past the Giants. I think you'll see the Giants in this draft go, linemen probably 2 through 5, maybe. Yeah. You'll see linemen and possibly that second tier tight end, the kid out of BC and Penn State are both that second, third round tier.
Yeah, they call the kid from Penn State Little Gronk too. So big guy. And look, with Parsons, he's a big guy too. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah from Notre Dame, a little undersized, very athletic, can rush the passer, great in pass defense, but Parsons is that whole guy. He's going to be your sideline to sideline,
Right.
type linebacker. He'll be able to, obviously, we saw he ran a 4.3, going to be good in protection. And I think he's going to be a guy that can really play at the line of scrimmage too, and come in on blitzes and bring some pressure on the quarterback. So, and look, Kevin, that's a good point. And look, Jalen Waddle's a good player too, so I don't mind it. Like I said, the Eagles, everybody who thinks, would it have been nice to get Pitts or Chase? Yes, I'd like it too. But the Eagles aren't going to make the playoffs this year. That would have made them a little bit more competitive, yes. But the Eagles are going to go into next year with 3 first-round picks and over $60 million in cap space, because that Wentz money is going to come off the books. Right. So and look, that's
and plus the cap. They're hoping the cap is going to jump.
It's going to jump even higher because they just got the TV money. So it could be $70 million. So Eagles, and look, I don't think they're going to go into. I think they're going to take that and roll that over mostly too, because if they're in a 2 or 3 year rebuild here, it's not going to be overnight. The Eagles have a lot of holes to fill.
Yeah, with having a lot of holes, do you think the Eagles go maybe defensive lineman or offensive lineman at 12 to try to, start, because honestly, football, as much as people, you got to start with a quarterback. I always believe you got to start inside out. You got to build your lineman. You got to get your lineman first and then get people to protect them. So I don't see, as much as the Eagles fans, let's get a receiver. You got one last year. Like you said, the last 2 years they've gotten one. Go get yourself. You haven't had a linebacker in forever. Jeremiah Trotter, is he the last middle linebacker?
They've had some decent ones, but if you talk about year in, year out consistent, coach, you're right. And look, I really believe this. A guy like Parsons, that takes that defense from, at times they can play good but inconsistent, to possibly a top 10 defense, because you got a good defensive line with Graham, Fletcher Cox. You have some good players on that line. You got Slay in the secondary. They go out and get Anthony Harris at safety from the Vikings. You slot him there in the middle, and that defense becomes a lot more scary, Coach, than it did. I would love Parsons at 12. I think he's going to be, it, Coach. You need playmakers. Come on. You had the biggest one there ever was in LT, who just wrecked havoc on defenses. Now, I'm not saying Parsons is LT, but he's that type of guy. Your defense needs playmakers. So, like I've said about, with the Raiders fans about the Raiders defense, they lacked playmakers. Now they do go get Ndakwe, who I like, and I think it's a step in the right direction. But, they haven't done anything for that secondary that got thrown all, teams threw all over them. So they still need some more pieces. And then they went, and I didn't understand it, but they discombobulated that line. And they think, we're going to put this guy here, Andre James. And you can say, well, they hope, but I don't know. It's a lot of talk. I want to see it happen on the field. So
yes, Angela, we are talking about
and she knows how I feel. Obviously, on her show, talking about the line. I'm concerned about the Raiders line. I am. They got Denzel Good, who isn't very good. Good. He's a good, for lack of a better word, he's a good pass blocker, but he's not a very good run blocker. Now they did re-sign gave an extension to Colton Miller today. Colton Miller's a very good young left tackle, but they also gave him $18 million a year. I would have, he wasn't very good in 2018. He had a better year in 2019 and 20. I would have waited another year. Let's see it again this year. But I have a lot of questions. As you know, Coach, when you lose a Pro Bowler Roddy Hudson and a Pro Bowler Gabe Jackson, I have concerns about the interior of that offensive line for the Raiders.
Right. Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah. And Kevin, they're talking Caleb Farley, the corner out of Virginia Tech for Dallas.
and also Patrick Surtain,
One of those two.
Junior.
That's another good
One of
one,
those
Coach.
two. Those are the two kids that are in the top.
Yeah, they're the top two corners, I would say, in the draft.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. So we'll see, but I think that's the way Dallas is going to go with their picks. Got to be defense. Got to be if you're Dallas.
If it's not, I thought honestly they made a mistake last year. I like CD Lamb. Don't get me wrong, but come on, did we watch the Cowboys last year? Obviously, I know the Dak injury had a big play in it, but that defense was historically bad. So, and they knew it wasn't going to get better because they let some guys walk. Obviously, they lost the corner, Byron Jones. So you lose a player like him to Miami. Yeah, was really surprised they didn't go defense. And this year they were. Kevin likes the corner,
Yes.
J.C. Horn. Yeah,
Yes,
he's a baller.
He's starting to climb up into the first round. He was an early second round pick. He's now climbing up the draft board too. So.
Yep. And I like anybody. Come on, man. When you got to play football in the SEC, you're almost. It's almost like playing on Sundays anyway, Coach.
You're right.
With all the talent in the SEC.
You're right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because that's what they call it, the junior NFL. The SEC is the junior NFL.
Yeah,
so
it's the minor leagues basically.
Yeah,
for the
basically,
NFL. It really is.
That absolutely. So
now you think your Giants are gonna see? If I'm the Giants, and I know you might, look with bringing Leonard Williams back, I really think I would patch that lineup a little bit because I think you got the weapons now. You got the running back. I really think you go offensive line and sure that offensive lineup. And look, like we said, you may draft back, but you have Rashawn Slater, really good. You got Darrisaw from Virginia Tech. If I'm them, I'm drafting a tackle.
Oh, sorry. Yes. I think I don't know if I'm drafting him that high. I just feel like if I could trade back, add some picks, because I believe we are losing our 4th round pick with to the Jets for Leonard Williams. If I remember correctly, the Giants are because they signed Leonard Williams. That 5th went to a 4th round pick, I believe.
Yeah, they do all that stuff with those complimentary. If you lose a guy, you get compensation.
Oh, that was part of the trade. The Giants gave up a 3rd round pick and a 4th or next year's 4th round pick for Leonard Williams. It was a 5th round pick if he walked. It moved to a 4th if he signed. So I don't know, but I think in rounds 2 or 3, I think I'm more into looking into drafting linemen than I am in that first round. I really think adding that complementary defensive player, whether it be Parsons, whether it be Rousseau at the edge, would really make that defense solidify. And I think I can patch my offensive line later on in the draft, as you've seen so many times with later round picks, being able to do that.
And you do look, Solder obviously, restructured his deal. I think Andrew Thomas, he came on late last year. I think he'll have a nice season.
Yeah, after they got Colombo.
I'm concerned about that interior of the line and not great interior linemen that they're talking in the top half of the first round. You got the center out of Alabama, Dickerson, who I like. I'm drawing a blank on the guard. I think he's from Oklahoma State.
There's a kid from Oklahoma and a kid from Ohio State as well.
That was Josh Myers from Ohio State. That's the center. And Kevin said about Giants taking Pitts. Look, if he falls there, they got to talk about. Look,
if he falls there, I agree. You gotta really talk.
I think Pitts is going to come in the league and be a top 5 tight end. I think that's a very true possibility. I think he may walk into the league and it's going to be Kelsey, Kittle, Waller, Pitts. I think that's very possible. That's how talented I think this kid is. Not going to be much of a blocker, but man, when he's on the field, you're going to have to. obviously as a defense, see where Kyle Pitts is, because I think he's going to wreak havoc on the league.
Yeah, I agree 100%. 100%.
And I know
So,
Stiz is going to try to get him in his fantasy football league, because, like I said, I think Pitts is going to have a big year. I think he's a star in the making.
I have a feeling we're going to be a lot of over-unders with Pitts involved during the season. I think we're going to have a few prop bets with Pitts involved. So we'll see. It should be it'll be fun. It'll be interesting to see. I can't wait. We're just a month away. We are exactly a month away. Yesterday was the 29th, so April
it's
29th.
Actually, Coach, it's going to be 4 weeks from Thursday. So it'll be the first, and it's the 29th, obviously. So 4 weeks from Thursday. So, can't wait. Because to me, I mean, we've had the off seasons thing, but once the draft goes, you really start getting a picture of what your team is. Yep. Obviously, then you have the draft May. We'll have the schedule release. And then also, too, we found out today, Coach, it's official. They're going to do 17 games next year. And, Coach, which we've all been asking for, the Super Bowl is going to be, you're going to have a day off the next day.
Finally.
It's going to be President's Day. It's a national holiday, man. It's how it should have been. So I love that. They're going to have 3 preseason games. That's smart as well. Preseason's pretty much worthless. None of the real starters play anymore.
You know what I think really is more of a pain in the ass? I think it's more of a season ticket holder aspect than anything else. Because I'm a big fan of those no-name guys making the teams, those walk-on guys getting that, the unsigned free agent who came in, or that 7th-round pick gets that chance, and he can't get that chance in practice. Right. He's only getting that chance with game film.
Yeah.
So, and I think more of the biggest hassle is really charging your season ticket holders to pay full price for those games.
Right. Well,
where I just think it should be a first come, first serve situation. You'll make money on your parking. You'll make money on your concessions, and just put people in the stands and let them come.
Yeah, they should charge. That should go for the people that are a little less fortunate, that can't afford to take their kid to a game and let them. And that's what a lot of times,
100%.
It's somebody 100%. That is more fortunate to have season tickets, that they'll say, hey, take my tickets to the preseason game. And like you said, though, Coach, it is important for those, undrafted free agents and later draft picks. Because I think, Coach, isn't over half of the league undrafted free agents, if I'm correct? I know it's a high percentage. I don't know if it's over half, but it's a high percentage. I don't know
if you're on high, but they are pretty high.
Yeah. And Angela's right. You can't give the tickets away. And it's one of the things with the NFL, and I don't know how they're going to do it now, because it's going to switch with the 17th game. So 1 year, the NFC will have 9 home games. The following year, the AFC will have 9 home games. So I guess then with the 3 preseason game, 1 year you only have to buy 1, and then the following year, I would take it, you'll have to buy 2. But, it's a complete waste of money. It's stealing from your consumer, from the people.
Right.
And look, Angela's a person who knows with the PSL that she's going to have to pay for the new stadium. It's not cheap to get tickets to these stadiums.
Right. And you're asking us to pay full price for a discounted product. Mm-hmm. It's not even a product that is worth, considered, 80% of face value. I just don't get it.
What's going on, Jason Dean?
So, hey, Jason Dean, what's up, buddy?
The Raiders have asked for more money for the extra home game. The Raiders, they got – I think
but the Raiders aren't the only one. Every team is now going to be banging their season ticket holders for a extra money for the extra game.
Yeah, well, I think, too, with the Raiders – Davis was expecting all that money from last year. You get into your first year, and he's thinking, looking at the jump in income, because obviously they have all those new suites, all those big, pretty luxury boxes, all the corporate of Las Vegas. and COVID hits and he doesn't get it. But I don't exactly feel bad for him though either. So
No.
Yeah, not exactly feeling bad.
I don't
Mark
feel
Davis.
bad because you messed up and signed John Gruden to a 10-year deal. So I mean that's
yeah, and Coach, that's one thing I talked about with the Raiders. Gruden. You look with the Bears. The Bears were trying to trade the house away for Russell Wilson, and that's because Nagy and Pace know that if they don't make the playoffs this year, they're out. They're done. They're going to lose their job. Does Gruden seem like I know Mayock's the GM, but Gruden's pulling a lot of the strings for that team. Does he seem like a guy who's worried about job security? He sure don't to me. Nope. And I think he knows I got 10 years, even if next year again we don't make the playoffs, he's coming back. And we can see Coach as he's playing injured here. Shout out to Coach.
Trying to move the leg up, man.
How many coaches can go to a team with all the fanfare Gruden did and not make the playoffs for 4 years and still have a job? So,
absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree. And I don't understand it because I mean, he came in, he gave you a plan, and and you haven't fulfilled that plan, So at some point, when are you going to be held accountable for your actions?
Right. No. Yeah, 100%. And could you put up what Jason Dean said? A little segue to college basketball. Jason Dean, everybody just talked about the Big Ten. Would have run by the Pac-12. I mean, Oregon State, wins the Pac-12 championship or might not even have been in the tournament.
Right.
They go out yesterday but had a nice run. Oregon, nice run. USC, obviously. And I'm telling you that I'm going to give it out now.
That's right, Jason Dean. I was a high second rounder.
Watch out for USC tonight. I love them to cover the 9 against Gonzaga. Gonzaga's been killing teams, and look, they look very impressive. Very impressive. I do think Gonzaga, the way it looks to me, the way I'm seeing things, probably looking Gonzaga Baylor in the final, but I think USC can give this team a run for their nut money. I love USC +9 tonight, and I wouldn't be stunned if USC upset Gonzaga tonight. Watch out for Mobley. He's a baller. USC has a good team, and you can see with the Pac-12 and that seeding, it wasn't right because the Pac-12 was very, very good this year. As we got UCLA, Michigan tonight, and obviously USC, Gonzaga. So still two Pac-12 teams left, but obviously Baylor and Houston move on last night, and for all the upsets, you still look. It was a 1 seed and a 2 seed that make it last night. And if Gonzaga and Michigan won, it'll be 3 1s and a 2. But still got to play the game. So we'll see if USC or UCLA can pull off the upset tonight, which would be interesting because you got 2 storied programs, obviously, especially UCLA, who, if you remember, obviously in the 60s and 70s, they were the franchise, basically, of college basketball.
They were as dominant as any team has ever been dominant, So they are. I would equivalent that to the Alabama of this year. Alabama football and UCLA basketball back in the day. That was every year you kind of considered them being number one.
And Jason Dean obviously laughing at me with his whatever you ever want to call them, his crying faces. Look, Gonzaga's a great team. I mean, I love every time they say it because the one guy's named Timmy. Every time I think of it, I think Timmy. You got, Jalen Suggs is a baller. Gonzaga should win. But Jason Dean, we'll see, buddy, because and we'll bet a couple drinks when I see you out in Vegas. I think USC covers the 9. I'm not saying I think they have a shot to win outright, but I'm telling you, Jason Dean, they will cover that 9 tonight. You watch. Just go listen to Nevada Nick. Go lay some money on USC +9 tonight. Trust me on that one.
Okay. All right, there you go, Nevada Nick. Throwing some out there still as we wind down to the Final Four.
Yeah, Suggs is the man, and it's good to see with Gonzaga, a team not in the Big Five have some success. I know Gonzaga's been around before. Obviously, they lost in the national championship game to UNC. But, Coach, I think you'd agree. It would be good, for college basketball, college sports, for a non-Power 5 to win a title. It would be a good thing.
I agree, 100%. I'm always a fan of the small school guys when they win and do well. So props to them. And we're getting ready. Opening day happening here
Thursday.
Thursday. So going to be fun and exciting as we get into some baseball and your Phillies. I mean, they blew out the Yankees early in spring training, and our midget friend down in the South that just thought it was, they'd already won the World Series and stuff. But I don't know if that's his alternate team or
Coach,
what.
It's a long season, Coach. It's a long season. Spring training doesn't matter. It's as simple as that. Look. Yankees, I think the Yankees you can pencil in the World Series right now. I mean, I think they are by far the best team in the AL. The NL, it's tougher. Obviously, everybody's on the Dodgers with Bauer going to the Dodgers and having that great pitching. But look, don't sleep on the Padres. And as you know, Coach, as I've always been saying, if not this year, I think the Mets are going to make the playoffs this year. I think they will take the NL East. They're going to be dangerous. Cohen's going to spend big money. He's got more money than all the other owners in baseball, and he's going to spend money.
I think I saw his net worth is more than all the major owners combined. Like his net worth is that much more than them. So, but what I was going to say is, you can't really sleep on the NL East because you got Philadelphia, Atlanta, the Mets, Washington, and Miami, who did really well in that short sprint and, made it to the playoffs and made a little noise. So it kind of is another division. I think that whoever comes out of that might make some noise and go, make some noise coming out of that conference. But I still think the Dodgers and the Padres are the front runners of the NL.
Yeah, no, definitely. And look, the National League is going to be much more interesting than the American League. I think the American League, it's really the Yankees and everybody else. The Rays, obviously. Abdul going back to the Phillies. I mean, he hasn't played in so long. It's kind of a wait and see. There were some surprise yesterday, obviously, as I'm drawing a blank on the kid's name from the Phillies, but they optioned the second baseman. Help me out, Kevin. The second baseman for the Phillies, they optioned him yesterday, and a lot of people were surprised about that. But over in the AL, it's the Yankees. I mean, the Rays, who were their main competition, you lose Snell, you lose Morton. I just don't see them. And everybody, look, Toronto did go out and get George Springer, but Toronto's all offense. They don't have enough pitching. And, people forget. Look, Herman was 18-4 the year before. He's back. Severino, who's a stud, is back. The Yankees are by far the team to beat in the AL.
If Kluber can come and make some quality starts, and I'm not real concerned here in April or May, but right. If we could get him into some, pitching every 10 days or something and get him in and be ready for, crunch time, I'm really excited because, again, we're going to get Domingo Germán back, who, right. Like you said, 18-4. But what's his name? It will be back by the All-Star break. I think he's due back in June, early July with the Tommy John. Right. So we'll see. I mean, that Yankee rotation on paper looks pretty stout for the first time in quite a while. And then that bullpen is still, again, pretty stout. So, And
look, the lineup's the lineup. We don't need to even talk about that.
Right.
the Mets, that's why I bet the Mets to win it all just because the number was good at 25-1. And I knew they were going to make some moves. Obviously, you go out and get Lindor and Carrasco, and you look at that rotation. Okay, you got DeGrom, who's arguably the best pitcher in baseball. You're going to have Carrasco, Stroman, and then Noah Syndergaard's going to come back. Now, Can you imagine? And they offered him more money if they'd have threw Trevor Bauer in with those 5 guys. Thanks, Joe and Kevin. Thanks for that's right, Scott Kingery. But the Mets, man, they have a rotation, and that lineup is good. Pete Alonso, heck of a player. You add Lindor to that lineup. Mets are headed in the right direction, and Cohen's, going to back up the Brink truck and spend more money. He tried to add in Bauer. They made a run at George Springer. So, little disappointing they didn't get Bauer because, man, I'd love to have that ticket with Bauer and 25-1 for the Mets to win the World Series for a rotation like that. But still like my chances. I think they're a good team.
Absolutely. So it would be exciting getting that back to schedule. We're going to have some fans in the stands to start things off, which will be good. And hopefully as the season goes on, they'll just, we'll grow until we're at full capacity. So.
Yeah, and hopefully, Coach, we see it over the season. I know it's like a state-to-state thing. I believe in Texas. Aren't they going full stadiums in Texas?
I think Texas, and I know Florida has dropped the COVID vaccination card deal. So, you don't have to show that you've been vaccinated in order to attend a baseball game or any of those events. Right. So,
but hopefully it just gets more and more and we return to some normalcy. And let's say hopefully by 4th of July, we're close to full stadiums because obviously, especially for football in September, I don't want to be hearing this 40% or any of that. Right. I think we all want to get back to some normalcy and get back to our lives. And I think pretty much I remember I said to Stiz last year, man, if they keep people sitting here by July 4th, they don't, Angela.
Which is good. I'm for it. If you got your vaccine, what do we walking on eggshells for? If everybody's gotten vaccinated, why are we walking on eggshells? So, open it up and let's move on with our day.
Yeah. I said last year that if they had it on shutdown by 4th of July, people were going to go nuts. Well, here we are. It was a year. So, and we're still here. I know here in PA, they're loosening things this Monday where you can actually finally sit at the bar. So, I'll enjoy that and get to be able to watch a little Phillies baseball. But, and we'll see what the Phillies. I like the rotation. I don't like the back part of the rotation. They fixed the bullpen. But like I said, Coach, I think they're the third best team at best in their division. I think the Braves and the Mets are just better than the Phillies right now.
Right. Yeah, I agree. The Phillies are a few. Yeah.
Come on, Coach. Play hurt.
Man, I'm trying to suck it up, man. I can't sit properly. You know what? The problem is I'm sitting on a chair. I got my foot up on the other chair, but this chair is up too high and it's too close to the table. So my cast got caught so I had to twist my whole leg and try to get it down because I can't keep my leg hyperextended that long. It was kind of bothering me, so. Well,
let's just hope, Coach, that's your last day of roofing ever.
Look, man, I was doing the floor exercise and getting ready for, the Summer Olympics in Japan, because I'm going to be I was vying for my team, my spot on the women's gymnastics floor team. So, and I just stuck the landing, man.
Nevada Nick's got an offer. Anybody who has film of Coach's fall, I'm willing to give you $1,000 for video of it, just so I can see Coach go for field. You said you fell down and forgot the scaffolding was going wrong, right? And then you said, "Oh no, it's gone," so you just jumped off the ladder, right?
Correct. No. I was on the ladder. I took a step off the ladder onto the scaffolding. And my momentum carried me back to take that extra step back. Mm-hmm. That extra step back, there was nothing there. So I went, oh crap. So then I just hopped off instead of falling. I just hopped and and I stuck the landing.
Yeah.
So,
Well, he probably should have just, landed head first because he's not going to do much more, damage to that brain. So,
yeah, I mean, just taking those. I was afraid of the brain cells that I may have lost during that fall, but I was able to come through. A few
yeah.
scrapes, and I thought it was okay. And then I stood up and fell back down. I went, "Oh, wait a second, something's wrong here, man."
And what do we got now?
hurts.
Coaches say Coach is never going to be able to go through a metal detector at the airport anymore. So what
That's
do you
right.
got? What's
We'll
it?
see.
2 screws and a plate
Three.
or something?
Three screws. Three screws.
A plate too, or just 3 screws?
I think just 3 screws, he said. I don't
Okay.
remember him saying by a plate, but you know what? I was pretty induced under the influence when he was talking to me, so he could have said a plate too. So I don't know. So
yeah, and Coach also had a voluntary colonoscopy after that too. So just for shits and giggles, and no pun intended.
Yeah, sure, that's right. Just for giggles. Yep. So yeah.
Jason Dean says you're not flexible enough. You need to take some yoga.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to start doing some yoga here right after I get out of this cast. So.
Oh, and that's 2 months you said, right, in cast?
2 months in the cast. So, and it's my driving foot too, so I can't even drive. I can't drive. I can't do nothing. I'm stuck on crutches.
Well, and what the worst part, because I had a boot the one time on my right foot, I ended up hurting my other foot, Coach. So I was in 2 boots.
No, that's Nevada. Nick likes those back alley colonoscopies.
Get out of here.
Right?
So, Coach, I'm in 2 boots, and it was like I was walking on moon shoes. It was the weirdest thing because you're obviously using more of the other leg now. So I ended up hurting my other foot, and I'm sitting there walking on like moon shoes. And Jay, look, I actually like what Howie did. The Eagles are bums right now, but I like what Howie did because I think we need multiple picks. We're going to have salary cap. Look, we're not going to be good for a couple years. It's just how it is. But we needed to. I think they should have blown it up more. Guys I just don't think they could take all the salary cap hits. But like Fletcher Cox, he's not going to be on the team in 2 to 3 years. Kelsey's not going to be on the team in 2 to 3 years. Brandon Brooks not going to be on the team in 2 to 3 years. I think Lane Johnson will be there. But, Darius Slay probably not going to be on the team in 2 or 3 years. The Eagles have a ton of holes to fill. But I think everybody thinks they're going to be terrible. I'd bet anybody. I think the Eagles are going to be a 500 team this year. They're not going to win the NFC East. I think the Giants are the class of the NFC East. But the Eagles are going to be better than people think. You're going to get Lane Johnson back. You're going to get Brandon Brooks back. And let's hope with Nick Sirianni, a guy who was a coach under Frank Reich, is going to run the football, and I think he will. So your best offensive weapon in Miles Sanders is going to run the ball this year. Doug Peterson didn't want to give him the ball. Doug Peterson did nothing to help Carson Wentz, and that's why Doug Peterson isn't in the league. And usually when a Super Bowl winning head coach gets fired, the teams are lining up. He had to interview for an offensive coordinator position with the Seahawks. So that shows you where the league's opinion of Doug Peterson is right now. So I think the Eagles are going to have a good offensive line. I think Hurts is going to play decent. I think they're going to run the football. They're very young outside, with their weapons. But I think the Eagles are going to be a lot better than people think. They're not winning the division.
And I think, Mike, you need to stop smoking crack, okay? Do you want me to help you? We'll get you into, one of those recovery centers or something. He wants to give up all the draft picks for Wilson. I mean, come on. You've got so many holes to fill.
I wouldn't do it for Wilson. I'd do it for Watson. Wilson's too old. He's 31.
Right, he's too old. But also, I mean, you gotta gauge that out because you have so many holes, man.
Yeah. Can you put up what my cousin said? Yeah, Danny. I don't know what's. I don't know what's going on. It doesn't make any sense to me. What's going on in Fly? I mean, look, they got lucky last night, but to me, Brian Elliott's the starting goaltender right there. And credit to Joe Fuller. Joe Fuller's been saying it for a long time. He called Carson Wentz a fraud. I don't think Wentz is a fraud. I think it was more of a bunt. I mean, he's definitely broken. I'll agree with that. But Carter Hart, man, to see where he was at this time last year, and where he's at now, and the Flyers as a team, it's unbelievable. The Flyers are really struggling. Carter Hart should be in the minors, and Brian Elliott is your starting goaltender right now, and I'm incredibly concerned about the future of Carter Hart and whether you don't want confidence issues with your goaltender, Coach. You know that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You just can't, and we'll see. But I am surprised at Carter Hart and his regression. I mean, last year he's standing on his head. We were, helping the Flyers go through a great playoff run with, as an alternate team or as a favorite team or however they were doing. But, they were doing good. And now, now he's can't even be an alternate. He's just,
Well, and look, the defense isn't playing good in front of him either. But now today, Ghost is a Ghost who was everybody thought was a star in the making. Not a great defender, but was a really good point man on the power play. He's on waivers, and that's what's crazy. Going into last year, I know my cousin used to always say he's 100% right about the Flyers. The power play really struggled, but they needed to just put pucks on net, and he was right. But their defense was really good, and the goaltending was really good. And here we stand, and the defense is terrible, and the goaltending's terrible. I mean, Carter Hart's goals against average is almost 4. His save percentage is, I think, like 86 or 87. It's just – and I love the coach. And now you wonder, could he lose his job possibly at the end of the year if they don't make the playoffs? Because, I really thought – because obviously they were the 1 or 2 seed going into last year. Right now they're battling at the bottom of the playoffs. So you wonder what happens with that situation.
The Eagles take who at 12?
Slater, the tackle. That's a possibility. I mean, I don't think they do because you got Dillard, and they really like Jordan Malata too. Project was a rugby player who's 6'8". I don't think they go Slater. I don't know. I really think they're hoping one of the Pitts, Smith, or Chase drops to them at 12, and they still get that, removing from 6. I really think one of those guys they're hoping fall. And it's possible. Go look at the draft because if he gets past 7, I think there's a chance unless somebody moves in front of him.
I agree.
You're right. My cousin's right. You just it's the truth. And I think sometimes, too, in hockey, these guys try to get the perfect shot when it's just – a lot of times it's a deflection or just
just
or
it's
a rebound.
Yeah.
Just get the pucks on the net. It's true. You want to put pressure on the goaltender. And you see it a lot where you feel the pressure and it's building, and then you'll finally crack through. And, but I don't know, man. The Flyers, it's a scary situation right now. And I'm curious to see what happens.
Absolutely. We'll keep an eye on that. So, all right, guys, it's been a great show. We've up on it. I got to. I need a med break, so we're gonna cut out. My leg's killing me. So and I couldn't carry my water over here, so I haven't had anything to drink.
Are you okay, Coach? Hasn't had a water to drink.
Yep, I'm dying of thirst over here. So, but I appreciate everyone checking in. Please do me a favor. Like our page on Facebook, the new one, because the old
one doesn't work. Tell everybody what it is. It's the Coach Muddle Show. There's
the Coach Muddle Show. There's 28 of them, but go to the Coach Muddle Show and then go to Facebook, in the Huddle, Coach Muddle, like that. Share it with your friends. Tell your friends about it, so we can get more people in the Huddle because it's going great. We appreciate it.
And Michael, thanks for stopping in too, Michael.
Thanks for everyone who stops in and contributes.
Even though Coach accused you of using drugs, so.
Yeah, I'm just jealous. That's why. But so
he's a Giants fan.
Okay. So we'll see off season finally. Okay. Well, we'll see. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Make sure you check out Nevada Nick. It's Nevada_Nick for all his when he posts up his picks, during the week, find out the other 16 shows that he's on doing, so, he's on all these doing the gamut of shows and stuff. So it'll be fun. We'll check everybody out. We should be back regular time Monday. Hopefully, everything's back to normal on our end, obviously not on the planet, but we're getting there. So, all right. Thanks, everyone. Take care, and we'll see you next week.